Hello, parents, educators, and nerdy D&D fans. You have found our new home for Area of Effect, a talk show where we discuss how tabletop role-playing games benefit the whole family. We're currently in process of shifting all our old but golden episodes over to this new channel by posting a new episode every weekday until we catch back up to our new episodes. We would love your help getting this new channel up and running with a follow, share, or review. And thanks for joining us on our quest to bring more adventurers to the table.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
Over the years of as she was getting older, I started wanting to get her into D&D, but I would research and I would find nothing. And I would look at all these modules and they were too dark for a 4-year-old. And I would keep trying to find these things and just over time getting kind of, to be fair, annoyed at the fact that there wasn't enough stuff for kids. And so we started doing improv stories when she was like 4 or 5 years old, where we would just sit in front of microphones and come up with stories together. Yeah. About 7 years old, we actually recorded an original podcast called The Realm of Elves that
I'm very proud of myself for making up an entire world.
Yep, she made the world and I just rolled with it, and it was about as rules light as you could be. And eventually we decided to go into this thing full force, and now we're doing The Adventurous.
Now it's official.
Stemmed from an annoyance of lack of kid content, and now we're doing it ourselves.
Welcome to Area of Effect, a podcast by the Kids Table, where we discuss how tabletop RPGs benefit kids and answer your questions about playing TTRPGs with the kids at your table.
Well, today we are so excited to have Dadventurous with us. Hi, Dadventurous.
Hello.
Hey.
We have both the dad and the daughter today. Dadventurous is an actual play podcast that's available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you usually get your podcasts. And I highly encourage you to listen to it. Both the dad and the daughter play together and make some super fun and creative stories. I love it. So thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you already started chatting a little bit about kind of how you got your daughter into D&D. Was it D&D or other forms of RPGs?
Yeah, it was a little bit of everything, but we definitely, once we moved on from RPGs like, No Thank You Evil, some just communicative storytelling that we would do, we actually started researching into more of the Dungeons and Dragons lore books.
I got into the lore books before I got into D&D.
Yeah, so she was really into the story, and as she got older, it became a little easier to have her read about Vecna and stuff like that. But when she was younger, it was a little dark, but she was into it now. So
a tough bedtime story for a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
So you start with the little kids D&D books that omit the dark stuff that usually comes with D&D.
Yeah.
But
What inspired you to actually launch this as a podcast to share with the world rather than just being something the dad and the daughter do at home together?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely started as that. I always wanted to start a podcast.
and he likes voice acting.
I did, yeah. So, and we like playing Dungeons and Dragons. So the pieces kind of all fell into wanting to provide content that other kids could listen to who went through the same struggle I did. Last year we recorded a bunch. We finally released it, and then I think it's funny because it's about the same time I felt like I noticed a huge upswing in kid content for D&D.
I think having kids actually playing, that's somewhat rare to find, at least in an ongoing campaign like you guys have got going. So your campaign has been going for how long now?
Almost a year of recording.
Yeah.
And then
you said the first one released on Halloween?
On Halloween of last year, but we had been
but
recording, I think, from the summertime. Yeah. So it's about a year.
Okay. And who's usually the DM?
I am for this time, although she claims she's going to do the next one.
I want to do one.
Yeah.
And I did do an episode.
That's true. Yeah. She did a one shot where she was the DM.
At least I do have experience DMing, but it's all been one shots. The little campaigns.
That's fun. Are you already coming up with ideas for your own campaign?
Debating whether I want to do a written one or not. I found one that I really liked, but then I worry about originality. So
nothing's original anymore.
Fair enough. So the dad, when you were thinking about playing D&D with your daughter, TTRPGs, what were some of the ways, you said you were looking for content out there for kids, not really finding it. So I assume you created your own. And what were some of the ways that you tweaked the version of TTRPGs you were familiar with to fit her age level? And how old was she when you first started playing?
Yeah, I think the first real iteration,
official D&D,
was our first recorded thing, The Realm of Elves. And basically she created this world where it was basically the Feywild. She just didn't know it yet, but it was lots of different elf styles.
It was definitely my own version of the Feywild. Yeah, I think I did know it was the
maybe
Feywild.
You did, but it was all these different elves, and I ended up finding one shot online through this website called D&D Duet that does one-on-one campaigns, and I took that and I just kind of tweaked the heck out of it, and I decided that the easiest thing was going to be taking the rules and just glancing at them occasionally, and mostly we just kind of rolled with she wanted to cast 2 spells in one turn. I'm like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. I'll just make my wolf bad guy a little stronger. It was stuff like that, constantly doing the rule of cool instead of worrying too much about following the rules. And we still do that a lot. Yeah. We're just a little bit more.
You actually follow the rules and don't allow me to cast 2 spells per turn if one of them isn't a cantrip.
That's true. But I'm still making up weird stuff.
Yes.
That's true. So I think it was that. It had always been Dungeons and Dragons, mostly just because of my interest in it. But there have been other ones that we've played over the years, but D&D has always kind of been the main focus. So it was just lightening up the rules. We actually used to print out kid character sheets, and they were a lot simpler, and then we've evolved into doing normal stuff now.
Last year I am homeschooled, but I go to a schoolish
with other kids.
Describe it with
like
other
a co-op.
Kids. Yeah. And I ran, co-founded a D&D club at school with my friends. It started out small, and then it grew and grew as more kids got interested in the D&D for kids, right? And it was DM'd by kids, played by kids. Basically, the adults had no part in it except for keeping all of the kids in line, which is quite a hard thing to do when you're dealing with a bunch of middle schoolers. So,
but she was the DM for all those.
Yeah.
So,
and there are some other DMs too, but I was the main one that got
helping kids learn how to play and all that stuff. Yeah.
What surprised you about DMing with your peers?
They're a lot crazier than adults, and I have DM'd mainly for adults.
Yeah.
So a couple of them were reasonable.
You gotta test your improv skills.
Yeah. Did you have to, think on your toes more with the suggestions I come up with?
And I had to do a little bit of okay, I guess you can do that.
Yeah. They always wanted to eat everything, I remember.
Yes, they always wanted to eat everything. One of my players, my best friend, he wanted to fillet everything.
All the monsters.
Even if it wasn't a fish. And so you know, like one of the famous creatures for D&D is an owl bear, right? And I
Yeah.
made them fight an owl bear once, and then after killing it, he filleted the owl bear. I'm not even sure if that's possible for something that's not a fish, but
It sounds like that show Delicious in
I was
Dungeons.
just gonna
Yeah.
say it's given
Yes.
delicious and dungeon vibes.
He did it before it was cool, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
what's it like then, watching your daughter become a DM like you? Like what are the ways that she's similar to the way that you're doing it? And like what is it like to watch her fly like that?
It's really cool. I think she and I are different in the way that we operate in our brains. She's a lot more logically focused than I am. But so
I
when
also
we
remember more things.
Well, yeah. And so when we first started, I remember she was having a struggle with things not following the rules exactly, but it was really cool watching, especially with the D&D club. And then she ran a couple of one shots for us and our friends, for a bunch of adults, and just
I actually started out DMing for adults before I DM'd
you
for
did.
kids.
And it was really
Amazing.
cool. Watching my friends or her friends throw weird stuff at her and watching the gears turn and watching her like adapt her story now to fit that. It's been cool. I'm excited. I hope she has the confidence to run the next section of Dead Venturous, because I think it'll be really fun.
Yeah. The
Whatever
I
you want to do.
I will definitely try and see if I can do an accent other than British.
I love
I-
it.
I can only do British.
That
is my accent. I can do it. A Scottish-ish.
There you go.
Well, how
Yeah.
empowering to have like one kid with a table of adults and the one kid is the one who's in charge. I just think that's super awesome that you gave her that opportunity and built up her confidence in her own in her own skills to give her that experience.
Yeah.
What tips would both of you have for parents and kids who want to get started playing together but maybe feel a little intimidated or unsure?
I mean, I think kind of in line with what we've been talking about a little bit, but I think there's a lot of worry that you have to go buy all these books and go buy all the dice and all this stuff. And
My tip for new players
what's
What?
up? No, go for it.
is that especially if you're playing with kids, even if they're old kids, like even if they're like high schoolers or something, fudge the rules. And in some cases that you did with me, completely ignore the rules.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair.
Until you've actually have learned how to play, and then you can take it however you want. But
Well, and I think there's so many ways to access these things for free that, look at them, sure, look at the rules, look at that stuff, but then just kind of make your own story and make it
Yeah.
work. I think it's so much more fulfilling to just, and feel free to steal, call it the Lord of the Necklaces, and there's a team of people trying to go to a volcano, throw the necklace, and no one's gonna know anybody. Like you can, when it's just you and your friends around a table, you can just take inspiration from kind of everything and just make your own story, and then fit some D&D stuff in there to make it work.
yeah, and like I think if you're a parent, like say the same applies to like even if you're a parent or an adult that wants to play with kids but already knows how to play D&D, same applies. You just at least know how to implement the rules.
Yeah.
And subsequently fudge them.
Well, and I think one thing that we've done a lot with the club and everything too was like encourage people like to just tell me what you want to do, and I'll tell you what you got to roll to make it happen. If you want to climb the back of the dragon and try to tame it, sure, the D&D rules might say that's a bad idea, but for kids, I'm like, yeah, sure, roll for it. Maybe it works. Maybe you get a nat 20 and
make
here
an
we go.
animal handling check.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Let the
What I'm
dice
hearing
tell
is
the story.
that it's just much more important for kids to have fun and be successful and be the heroes than it is to go all rules lawyer on kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like both of you have had experiences playing with bigger groups and smaller groups. What is it like playing one-on-one? I haven't really had that experience other than with my little daughter. What did you find you needed to change in that scenario?
Add a sidekick.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I learned was now, wanting to be careful about adding a sidekick that makes decisions for the player. We didn't want that, but it was pretty clear that it gets boring if it's just one person, even if the other person is the DM doing a silly voice for a flumph. It helped a lot when we first started doing the one-on-ones. I was like a bear
You were
guy,
a bear person. Yes.
yeah. And I would just defer all decisions to her and pretend I didn't know anything. But the sidekick thing helped a lot.
Poor Jarrus Grandpa.
Yeah, one day people will hear of him. Maybe.
Are you saying did it help with the game mechanically, or did it help your hero, not really feeling alone in their quest?
I think a little bit of both. It gives the opportunity to talk to someone as a player. They were confused. It gave me the opportunity to give some hints without telling her exactly what to do. And then mechanically, when it came to fights and things, it was that problem of if you only have one person, they kind of have to do everything. Where if you can have the sidekick fill the role that the other person is not, it helped with a lot of things. So like in our original campaign, my bear person was a big beefy fighter and he would go in and distract.
And he had a big shield.
That was me basically just being like, you can stay in the back and shoot spells because I know that's what you want to do.
I was the squishy little druid who did that, could only fly a little bit and didn't really have a lot of health.
And now with the adventurous, the whole point of having Flibbit to the Flumph as her sidekick was she didn't want to play a class with healing at all. And so I was like, well, I'll throw a character in there that can do that and help a little bit, So I think one-on-one, that's one of the main things I've learned. And there's some resources out there for it. And then the other thing is you can kind of focus a lot more on the main character. And I think in a way, it makes it more of like an action movie. It's kind of fun because there is one character. And so really putting your main player as the focal point of the story feels daunting at first, but I actually really like it. It's a lot of fun. And I think also the sidekick helps with like on a meta level, making sure fights aren't too difficult or easy, because when you just have one character, it's kind of hard to organize things to see if it's going to be too tough or too easy.
I feel like most like pre-written modules or like just D&D in general is built for a group. And so having that sidekick helps a lot with that.
I think the main thing to remember, especially with people like getting into it for the first time, is it's there to have fun. It's there to tell a collaborative story. It's there to kind of prop up people. I think there's a lot beneficial for kids to play D&D for their emotional well-being and learning things and all that stuff, that it's worth it to take the plunge, because you end up with a pretty cool opportunity with kids telling stories together and whatnot, even if it is one-on-one, that I have found it to be a very positive experience overall. So yeah.
Even if your story has dark elements, even with kids, it's still like very fun, and you can make it as lighthearted or as serious as you want. But it's usually a positive experience, and it's nice.
We were watching the kids table, and like episode 1, you threw what's his name, the youngest like his dad got captured.
Six Tails.
And Six Tails. And I was like all right off the bat.
And I was like,
give him some trauma.
And
it's my kid, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
As soon as you said green dragon, I was like,
please don't fight it.
Please don't fight it. That would be.
I thought they were going to for a minute.
They were trying to.
No.
They were trying to.
They were trying to fight it.
That's one of the things that I love about this too, that kids have the opportunity to do these outlandish things that we would definitely not ever let them do in real life. Right. And so like they get the chance to take risks and to be silly with consequences and stuff like that. But that it, if you're doing it right, it sort of ends up in this really cool story way.
Yeah.
Can you say more about the ways that you have seen playing together benefit your daughter, and like maybe even if you've seen any of the things that she's learned translate to real life skills?
I think the big thing that I've seen is her ability to have a quick decision making when it comes to that kind of stuff.
When it comes to that kind of stuff.
And she's quick-witted. I have found she's insanely good at writing and telling stories, way beyond what I ever would have thought. And then in general, I think she's pretty good at speaking now in front of groups, talking with people, chatting with adults. It's kind of matured her, I think, a little bit anyway, in that ability to work a group and tell stories and do all that stuff. So it's pretty clear. It's hard to be specific.
Well, and how would you say it's changed your dad doing this together?
I think it's made him a lot better at remembering all the different voices that he has to do and not having them all transform into Dwarf Sylvanian, which is a combination of what you'd expect of a dwarf and a vampire, which is what they usually morph into if he doesn't keep voice notes. And I think it's also helped mature him a bit, but I think it's also helped him you have the body of an adult but the mind of a child.
That is why we play Dungeons and Dragons.
It's keeping him young at heart.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love
it. I think it's kind of helped him still be like lighthearted and funny, and
it's a creative outlet.
Yeah. And helps him come up with a lot of silly jokes, and that is the characteristic usually of dads. And so I think that it's also helped him a lot with the I don't call it mental health.
I would.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to Area of Effect. Be a part of the ongoing conversation. Follow us on Instagram at the Kids Table D&D, where you can DM us questions that might appear on a future show. And check out the Kids Table D&D on YouTube to see how we include kids and teens at the table. Brought to you by the Kids Table, because when kids are at the table, everyone wins.